Have you ever heard the expression, when pigs fly?
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holton, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day, whether you're watching the show on YouTube or wherever you want to download your podcast. Never forget the show is free. Always remember how much I appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. First of all, everyone does understand that pigs can't really fly, right? Okay, as long as we understand that. If I say Coach Lincoln Riley will be known as a defensive first coach, all the doubters would respond with, yeah, when pigs fly. In other words, the doubters are saying, look, don't bother looking up the sky. Don't look up. You're not going to see any pigs flying, not when it comes to Lincoln Riley and defense. No one's going to be saying, hey, look at me. So I do have a question. Who are USC's, and I'm using finger quotes, flying pigs in 2024? In other words, who are the guys that need the coach's eyes to see them the most? The guys are going to say, hey, look at me. Don't forget about me. I'm on the roster. Spring camp, look, is not that far away anymore. It's about a week away, depending on when you're watching the show. And while Miller Moss and the offense are going to get used to, starting a new era without Caleb Williams, at least on offense. Coach D'Anton Lynn, the defensive coordinator, is going to be he's going to be taking his time. He's going to make sure that Lincoln Riley's flying pigs come to fruition. We're going to make sure that Lincoln Riley is known as a defense first coach. So the spring roster is going to be released the day before camp opens. Spring camp, first day, March 19th. Roster is going to be released on the 18th. But I have a pretty good idea of a few guys that are going to be saying, hey, look at me. Don't forget about me. And I'm just going to talk about the defensive side of the ball right now. Let's start with Anthony Lucas. I'm going to say that last year, he just couldn't get comfortable. And I'm not going to put all of that blame at his feet. During practices, you can go back to the fall, and he's on record saying this. He was constantly, and he didn't say it like this, but he was constantly being pulled from the defensive lineman group over to the edge rush group. And also because I think his weight was fluctuating from where he came in, having him drop weight. I just don't think he was able to settle in and be a defensive end, which is probably going to be his spot, or even a defensive tackle. He had a similar role at USC in Alex Grinch's defense that he had at Texas A&M. So I guess the question is it the talent or was it the scheme? Everybody wants to give the nod to the scheme sucked and give the benefit of the doubt to Anthony Lucas. In high school, keep in mind that Anthony played with his hand in the dirt most of the time. And I think that's where Coach Lynn and Coach Henderson and Coach Sean Nua, they want to put him as well. Coach Nua is actually one of the main reasons why Anthony Lucas is at USC now. So now he just needs to let him develop him along with Coach Henderson. Last year, during fall camp, Anthony Lucas, he talked a lot about getting back to, the base fundamentals. Well, guess what this spring has in store? According to Coach Lynn, base fundamentals. That's what they're going to be working on. So there's a lot of young talent waiting to take over. If Lucas doesn't, use his wings and kind of fly around and say, look at me. We heard about it last year, spring camp. Oh, my God, you should see what this guy's doing. Never happened during the season. It needs to happen now. Who's the next guy who says, look at me, don't forget about me? I'm going to put Rajon Davis in that category. Linebacker from Mater Dei. Remember, he stayed home to go to USC. He could have gone to LSU. I can't imagine every program that was recruiting him, and there were some pretty good programs, didn't read the tea leaves right. I don't think Rajon was overrated. Now, what I can say is that he's been hurt frequently, and I'm not sure if when he wasn't hurt, if he's been used properly the last 2 years. But I think mostly injury has played a more significant role in why Rajon hasn't lived up to, and I hate using the word, expectations. He's listed as an inside linebacker. I don't know if he's big enough to play true inside at a middle linebacker. So we're going to see if Davis is going to be seen by his new coaches. He'll need to stay healthy first, and that he just continue to prove that he is an SEC caliber type of linebacker like he was coming out of high school. Another guy, local California high school kid, Anthony Beavers Jr. He's going to be a redshirt junior. And let's not forget, when he came to USC, he was an early enrollee, and he's just been trying to get noticed since he arrived. He might have caught his new defensive coordinator's eyes with his performance in the Holiday Bowl. He'll have some more opportunity during spring camp. Zion Branch, he's rehabbing. And there are a couple of guys, who are coming in through the transfer portal. Kamari Ramsey from UCLA. You've got Achille Arnold from Oregon State. Danton Lynn knows what Ramsey can do, coached him last year at UCLA. And Arnold was an all-conference selection last year in the Pac-12. So again, I think this is Anthony Beavers' look at me year. It's got to be, right? Prophet Brown, another guy, redshirt junior. Can he secure a spot in the 2 deep at cornerback? You would think after his holiday performance, the eyeballs are on him now. So all right, let's keep an eye on Prophet. By the way, in that Holiday Bowl, he collected a career high 5 tackles. Yeah. And he's also one of the better athletes on the roster. Just to remind everyone, as a junior in high school, he was All-State, and he led his team with 779 yards rushing on 64 carries. That's 12 yards per touch. He also caught 17 passes for 343 yards. That's 20 yards per catch, and had 5 touchdowns, 7 total, 2 rushing. He's an athlete. He can do stuff. I was telling one of my everydayers in the chat over there on YouTube that I thought Brown could play running back at USC if they needed him to. And I've got one more, and I'm using the term loosely and very nicely, flying pig on the defensive side of the ball. Kobe Pepe. Look, USC has Isaiah Rakes coming in, and he's a 330-pound bowling ball. And he's coming to help Bear Alexander at that nose tackle position. Kobe Pepe is also 330 pounds. And he's going to be a redshirt senior this year. Look, there is no bigger look at me dude on the roster. If we really wanted to dive into the weeds, it would be great if a player from Bosco, local program that would like to feed USC more players, saw one of their players do well at USC. Look, Kobe looks like what you want at the nose tackle spot, but he's only played in a handful of games since he's been at USC. Again, if there's one guy that Coach Henderson needs to figure out, see if he can fly, it's Kobe Pepe. So I'm going to do more of these. I'm going to do this on the offensive side of the ball on tomorrow's episode of Locked On USC. So it's something to look forward to. And if you like what you're hearing, what you're watching, do me a favor. Become a subscriber on YouTube. Quick, it's easy, it's free. Just click the subscribe button. When you see that thumbs up, smash it. And don't forget to hit that bell notification button. That way you will not miss one episode. You know what I like about Fire TV? You can turn on your smart TV and it's already there. Yeah, it's idiot proof. Or if you don't have a smart TV, go plug in one of those Fire Sticks into the back and you're fired up, ready to go. It's that easy. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis, whether it's the opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, which is coming up. You're gonna want to have a Fire TV. And did you know that Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels that deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free? That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the games, analysis, highlights, and more, keeping you up to date on all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, Major League Baseball, and everything. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and your Alexa device. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/Locked On Fire TV. With last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. See the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You get all-in prices to show you your total upfront, so you know what you're getting at a great deal before you even check out. And you can buy your tickets with 2 taps, just like that. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. It's LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Does Miller Moss even deserve to be in the early Heisman consideration talk? I would think that any quarterback that starts and plays for Lincoln Riley has probably earned the benefit of the doubt. I'm not even going to get into the who did Lincoln Riley recruit versus, well, who did he take over as a transfer argument? Here's the bottom line. The results speak for themselves. And you're saying, well, there is something to look at. I will just throw my trump card out there. Lincoln Riley did not recruit Miller Moss at USC. So in a sense, he inherited a transfer. How's that? There's a spin for you. Again, bottom line is Lincoln Riley's quarterbacks, they win Heisman trophies, and they produce at a very high level. Caleb Williams is a generational talent. Miller Moss isn't, but he's not chopped liver either. Really good quarterback. Has plenty of athletic ability. And Miller Moss he waited 3 years to start a football game in college after missing his senior year in high school. And then when Caleb stepped aside, Miller took over in the Holiday Bowl, and Moss went boss mode. Full on, took over. My team, everyone get in line behind me. 300 plus yards, 6 touchdowns. Yeah, what else says I am the team leader? And he's not going to have Taj Washington. He's not going to have Brendan Rice in 2024. Kyron Hudson will be returning. But you know what else he's going to have? He might have USC's best wide receiver room since Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Michael Pittman, Velus Jones, Tyler Vaughns. All those dudes were in the same room in the same year. Each of those dudes was on an NFL roster in 2023. Miller Moss is going to have Deuce Robinson, Zachariah Branch, Jacoby Lane, Makai Lemon. And those four guys who were true freshmen last year, the four of them and Miller, they got really well acquainted with their practice reps as backups. Those backup reps are now first team reps this spring and during summer player run practices and when fall starts. I know the offensive line, the running game, those two things have to come together. No disagreement, no argument. But assuming those two rooms work out, why not Miller? Why isn't he part of the way too early Heisman Trophy discussion? Who is the competition this year? Obviously, Carson Beck at Georgia. He's going to be, he's going to be a quarterback for one of the top teams in the country. So that means he's going to be in the discussion. And the same could be said for Quinn Ewers at Texas, Jalen Milroe at Alabama, despite a new coaching staff. And I say despite because Jalen Milroe is returning. He's got a lot of experience. And Kalen DeBoer is a pretty good offensive mind. I mean, he got Michael Penix into the discussion last year. The reason I bring this up is because of another California quarterback who also only has one start under his belt. Why does Tennessee's Nico Iamaleava getting the consideration? He only had one start. It came in the bowl game against Iowa. I mean, he played well, 4 total touchdowns. However, his passing game was pedestrian, 12 for 19, 151 yards, 1 passing touchdown. So we know that Nico is very athletic. He can use his legs. He can keep plays alive. He can move the pocket. He scored 3 running touchdowns. Now, besides that, so he is considered a really good prospect. I named Miller Moss's wide receivers. Can anyone name me a Tennessee Volunteer wide receiver not named Brew McCoy? Bueller? Anyone? So Nico is getting Heisman Trophy odds, betting odds. Why? Is it because he's a 5-star quarterback out of high school and he got a reported $8 million NIL deal? Guess what? He better deliver because he's getting paid like we'll call it a backup NFL quarterback. Look, I totally understand putting the front runners where they are. I get it. Quinn Ewers at Texas, Carson Beck, Georgia, Milroe, Alabama. Dylan Gabriel is going to try and put up big numbers with his third team in 6 years up at Oregon. These names, Will Howard, Jackson Dart. Okay, I get it. Garrett Nussmeier, though, LSU's quarterback. Why? DJ Ungalele. Why? Cam Ward at Miami. All right, I get it. Riley Leonard. Okay. Noah Fafita. All right. He had a good season last year as a freshman. I get it. Jump on the bandwagon early. He's got some pretty high odds, but at least he's being recognized. And then a couple other players, Jackson Arnold and Jalon Daniels. So let me ask you this. Who in the wide world of sports believes that DJ Ungalele is going to suddenly turn into a Heisman winning quarterback? 5-star, went to Clemson. Didn't work out. Transferred to Oregon State. He didn't look anything like a Heisman quarterback over there. He looked like a game manager. And now he's transferring to Florida State. I don't know. Maybe Mike Norvell can do that. Maybe he has the answer. And again, why is Garrett Nussmeier at LSU getting odds and not Miller Moss? Really similar situations. Someone who's smarter than me, want to explain it? I get it. I'm talking about way too early Heisman odds. But I'm making the case. I'm supporting it. I'm saying, look, Miller Moss has got a lot going for him. Find me a better wide receiver room. Maybe Ohio State can make the claim. Other than that, I don't know. Let me know. Hit me up in the comments section. Let's talk about it. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top-tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster, and they're going to do it for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. And hiring is really easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing a lot of hats, and you might not have a lot of time or resources to make a hire. And they even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions will apply. Here we go. It's time for March Madness. The USC Hoops teams, both men's and women's, had a really, really solid weekend. The women, they did what they set out to do at the start of the year. They had the #1 high school recruit in the country popping in. Her name is Juju Watkins. Well, they beat Stanford a couple times this year. Stanford, yeah, always the cream of the crop when it comes to women's basketball. Well, this time they beat them in the Pac-12 Tournament Championship. And now they're going to get a #1 seed when the brackets are released next weekend. How's that? Lindsey Gottlieb comes on in, recruits, coaches, got the team back in the tournament and feeling pretty good about themselves. People need to remember, and I'm not a huge women's basketball fan, but USC Hoops has some history on the women's side. They've got a couple of national championships. Might go on and go look up the name Cheryl Miller, Lisa Leslie. Yeah. Anyways, the men, they were supposed to contend with Arizona this year for the title, for the Pac-12 tournament. Well, they didn't. But they did beat the #5 ranked Wildcats 78-65 this past Saturday on Senior Day. They did it with defense. Finally, right? The type of defense that Coach Andy Anfield and I have been yapping about all season long. This is what they did Saturday night at Galen Center. They held the University of Arizona to 39% field goal shooting. And they were even better defending the three-point line, 29%. And what if I told you that USC beat them with Boogie Ellis only scoring 5 points? Yeah, that happened. He didn't have a really good night offensively, but Boogie came to play defensively. Kobe Johnson led the team, 19 points. He also had 6 steals. DJ Rodman also had 19 points. He had a team-leading 7 rebounds. Your Pops would be proud. Bronny James, the freshman, probably had his best overall game. Only 5 points offensively, but they were explosive points. He had a big slam dunk in front of Pops. And the three-pointer right before the end of the first half, oh, huge. It gave USC that 4-point lead at halftime. He also added 6 rebounds and 2 steals. USC as a team, are you ready for this? Check this out. Arizona turned the ball over 18 times. USC had 15 steals. Whoa. That will get it done. You know what else will get it done? USC's free throw shooting. They started the game 15 for 15. They shot 88.9%. Do more of that. Here's a really crazy stat. It'll kind of give you an idea of how the game went. USC, I have complained about it, I've told you about it, has been a terrible rebounding team all year long. Coach Enfield called them out. He's got his bigs just are poor rebounders. I asked him, he said they're getting better. They're still poor rebounders. Again, DJ Rodman, he's a guard, led the team with 7 rebounds. Arizona, Saturday night, they had 14 offensive rebounds, but they only had 2 second chance points. Just 2. Because USC kept playing defense. Now, in the month of March, so far now, USC's won 4 of their last 5 games. They've just knocked off the number 5 team in the country, Arizona, which, can you believe that's their first win over a top 5 team since 2018? And they also held Arizona to a season low 65 points. That first win over top 5, typically that's usually Arizona when they play them. They haven't had a lot of success against them. The other thing it says is USC hasn't played a lot of top 5 teams other than Arizona. So now they've won 3 in a row for the first time all year long. Finally, they're playing their best basketball at the right time of the year. And now they're heading to Las Vegas. They have to win 4 in a row. Their first game, Wednesday. It's either 12 or 12:30. First game of the tournament, they get Washington. They just beat the Huskies up in Seattle. They match up well with Washington. I can see USC winning this game. If they win that game, guess who they get next? The number 1 seed. It almost would have been better had USC stayed as the 11th seed. But they moved all the way up to number 9, and they're going to play Arizona. First game on Thursday if they get past Washington on Wednesday. So, if USC plays like they did this past Saturday, again, when they play Arizona, again, and they can hold Arizona's 2 best scorers to 3 for 16 from the field, USC has a really good chance to win that game. The question really is, can they win 4 in a row in Vegas? It's a really tall task. 4 games in 4 days. There's no break. I know the team believes they can. Coach Enfield finally feels good about his team's health and the ability to practice together and develop that chemistry. I don't disagree with that. It's pretty important. I'm just not sure this team has the right stuff. That doesn't mean I'm not a true fan. I know Andy kind of had that look in his eye, and he even questioned it when he was looking at the media. I'm not sure if he looked right at me or not, but I have questioned this team. So I think I've been fair. What he was looking at, maybe this played a part in it. The first thing he noticed when he walked into the press conference room after the game, where is everyone? Look, I get it. The women were in Vegas for the tournament, but none of the local beat writers from the 2 major newspapers were there. That's not a good look. And that's just not a good look. So I just wanted to kind of get that in there. Like I said, I'm a true fan. I understand the game. I really do. I've coached the game. And I understand that injuries and everything the coach talked about has played a role this year. But if you're a poor rebounding team and your best scorer is inconsistent in big games, and we have to be honest, that is who Boogie Ellis is. It's going to be an uphill battle. So we'll see. One more thing, a couple of things I want to talk about with the basketball team, basketball program. The fans. Get your stuff together. Yeesh. Look, Arizona, they're a basketball school, and their fans travel really well. They owned Galen Center. There was over 9,000 fans in there. Almost not quite sold out, just the upper corners up there behind the student sections. Those are the only open sections. But U of A fans, they love to start their U of A chant. And when they hear it, it's like I'm telling you, it's a call. It's like a bird call. All of a sudden, one person does it and the whole arena just erupts. Well, you shouldn't need DJ Malski to jump on the microphone to try and drown it out with the defense chant or "We are SC" chant. Trojan fans, get your stuff together. Otherwise, it's not just going to be Arizona fan that you had to worry about, because you're not going to be playing them anymore. They're moving on to the Big 12. Big 10 fan is going to embarrass you. You'll understand what I'm talking about when you start watching these games more often, especially when USC goes to places like Iowa and Wisconsin and Purdue and Indiana and Michigan and Ohio State. Those schools don't care if they're having a winning team or a losing team. They show up. So I get it. USC is a football school. Why can't you be both? And why can't USC fans understand that a home arena advantage should feel like it? And you shouldn't need somebody jumping on the microphone to encourage the fans, to remind the opposing fans that, hey, you're on the road. All right, that's it. Little mini rant. Had to get that out of the way. But USC basketball, hey, the women, #1 seed coming up, more than likely. The men, get some work to do. Go win 4 games, and you're going to be in the NCAA tournament. We'll see if it happens. I'll be back with another episode of Locked on USC tomorrow. That's what we do 5 times a week. And I think I'm going to have some recruiting information for you. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.